One students will face their junior cert in the county. Nationally, a record 135,000 pupils have registered to sit the exams. Both junior and leaving certs will sit English papers shortly from 9:30 this morning. It's the first time this year's sixth years are facing a formal state exam, as the junior cert was cancelled during the COVID-19 pandemic. Minister Norma Foley says getting this far is a huge achievement.
I want to acknowledge as well that I always feel when one student in a household is taking an exam, the whole house is taking the exam, so I want to acknowledge the support that comes also, from families and from parents and guardians and siblings as well. So it's a great achievement to have got to this point in your education. Do the best that you can, give it your all, and I would always say to my own students, all will be well, everything does work out in the end.
There's calls for a change in regulations governing septic tanks and water well grants. As it stands, to avail of the septic tank grant, it must have been registered by February 2013. Councillor Micheál Naughton says this leaves many at a disadvantage. He's calling on the relevant ministers to overhaul the regulations to protect homeowners from being financially impacted.
We're talking over 10 years ago when you're supposed to have registration for your septic tanks. Now in Donegal, as I said, it's a rural county. There's a lot of these singular septic tanks. And basically, they will not pass the standard going forward. And when families go to look for financial, they're saying you have to have registered. And I think this is very unfair. And I think this definitely has to be changed, because the people are going to be financially out of pocket. And if there's a grant there, I think everybody should be entitled to it.
Weather now dry and mostly sunny today, although there may be some patchy cloud at times. Highest temperatures of 20 to 23 degrees. That's all from Highland Radio News for now. We'll be back with news again at 10 o'clock. Until then, good morning.
Love a space to call your own. Live in the better built surroundings of a Glenveigh home.
Love having a sense of place. Live for shaping it from the get-go.
Love green spaces and the joy of outdoors. Live where lower environmental impact is a way of life.
In a home built more sustainably for comfort, quality, and for people putting down roots just like you.
Love where you live. Community inspired and shaped by you and Glenveigh.
Home of the new.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio.
And a very good morning to you. This is the 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio with Donal Kavanagh. It's a Wednesday morning. It's the 7th of June 2023. And if you are one of those thousands of people in Donegal who are doing either the Leaving Cert or Junior Cert exams this morning, and you're on your way to your exam centre, we wish you all the best. Our thoughts are with you. And do your best and don't panic. That's really all we can say. It brings back memories of my Leaving Cert, which was a quite a while ago at this point in time. 41 years. No, he lies. It's actually 42 years. Yeah. Okay, let's move on. It's Donal, as I say, on the 9 till Noon Show. Let's look at the local papers this morning. But before we do, just a reminder that you can contact the show, and your views and your perceptions and your take on the day's news and the day's events and the day's issues are what drive the show and what make the show what it is. You can text us or WhatsApp us on 086 60 25,000. Call us on 074 91 25,000. Caroline and Niamh taking your calls. Caroline producing the show as well this morning. You can use our social media challenge. It's at Highland Radio on Twitter. It's Highland Hub on Facebook. Don't forget, by the way, on Facebook you can watch the show as well, and you can see the show unfold. You can see all our Zoom callers as they join us, and also you can interact via the Facebook and YouTube channels too, if you so choose to do. We are comments at highlandradio.com, of course, if you choose to email. Now let's look at some of the papers, a few locals. First of all, Finn Valley Voice this morning, the headline, employ more firefighters. Councillor Martin Hardy, retained firefighters cannot be expected to be available 24/7. Sliema Glynn writes that Councillor Martin Hardy says more firefighters do need to be employed by Donegal County Council yesterday, the first in a series of one-day actions in a dispute over working hours and pay began at fire stations across Donegal and the rest of the country. We spoke yesterday to Kevin McKinney from SIPTU, and Kevin did tell us this will activate the situation. That this will, it will increase and it will become more serious as time goes on. Looking also at the Inish Times this morning. Tests show concrete blocks breaching EU regulations. A report on testing of concrete blocks produced in Donegal submitted to the European Commission as campaigners compare formal complaint against the Irish state. Declan McGee writes that concrete blocks that were found to have 3 times the level of